what's happening, people? It's Kanta here, and in today's video we're doing an analysis of Zippy versus K7 Showoff. It's Kai versus Nago, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I also do analysis videos like the previous one I did for Carrot of Wisdom when he played against Snail Tiger. So pretty much the same thing here. As I am a Kai player, I like to watch other Kais, see what they're doing differently from me, and what things I think they should do or what things didn't go too well. So yeah, if you enjoy these type of videos, don't forget to post a like and comment down below. Also stay subscribed, and I'm also actually on Metafy for those of you that don't know. So if you'd actually like one-to-one coaching, please contact me through DMs and we can speak from there. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to it. The pink Kai, okay.
Going down to his STG teammate earlier. Now got to handle this K7
Okay.
Showoff.
So far it's looking pretty good.
Nice. All these Nago players don't want to be Hotashi's underling for too long, dude.
Oh, don't say that too loud.
Nice check.
Plus frame.
Nice.
Out here to win it themselves.
Oh, the safest of jumps. I like that. Layers. Do more stunnage. Yeah.
Nice.
Here we go, same mixed up. Oh yeah, had to save himself because he whipped that throw, but
Boom, boom,
K7
boom.
Showoff
Yep.
still managed to get the punish.
Nice.
Okay.
Alleviate the pressure. Gas. Get off of me. Oh, that 2H is on point. Sharp.
Too far away for that tap does.
Oh, that's not
For
good.
Showoff, but again, that 2S has been putting in mad work
Yeah.
for all the Nago
Okay.
players here today.
So we're going to break down that first round, what actually happened with Zippy versus Nago. I wouldn't even say Kai versus Nago, it was just Zippy. So basically, if we're gonna, we'll go back a bit just so you can see exactly the things that went really well for Zippy, and then I'll talk about the things that probably didn't go to plan, and that technically happens a lot against Nago because he's one of those characters that you kind of have to make sure that you're very particular with how you're fighting him, because at any moment in time during the set, Nago can make you explode. So it's very tricky to keep Nago, under wraps and controlled, which is what Zippy had him in one portion of that round when he had him in the corner. But outside of that, K7 was just able to run his own game. And that's not fault of Zippy at all, but it's just the nature of the game. It's fighting games, people press buttons. Right at the start, this is actually pretty good from Zippy, simply because I know a lot of Kai players, and I get a lot of stick for this when I tell people not to do this, which is round start. There's a lot of characters in this game, and especially with how the game is from a Kai perspective, that Kai doesn't really get huge leads in Guilty Gear compared to the rest of the cast. So if you look at the round starts from characters like Nago, Happy Chaos, Ram, the reward that Kai gets from a good round start doesn't snowball as heavy as some of those characters, which is why I actually do suggest to people that I have spoken to or semi-coached that you don't have to RPS round start. Sometimes round start doing literally what Zippy's done here, and I've said it multiple times, you can literally do nothing or just walk back, walk forward, but you obviously dash block. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to swing, and I feel like that's a lot of the downfall of a lot of Kai players, is that they get roped into the mindset that they can do what other characters are doing. Like monkey see, monkey do. Oh, he's swinging, I want to swing. But it doesn't work that way. Kai, you have to play Kai quite particular to be quite effective with him. Now, he has good round starts. I'm not saying never to do anything round start, but you want to make sure that you're consistent with your approach and consistent with your game plan. So it's very important that you kind of don't throw that away straight away round start. So literally what Zippy did here was really, 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 really good with the round start, walk forward. Obviously it's a bit risky because he might have got hit, but obviously he didn't. So brilliant. The reason why it's also quite good, if you're going to factor this in, it's not just from a Kai standpoint, this goes for the whole roster, especially against Nago. I feel like a lot of people should actually adopt the style, unless your character has really, really good round starts, like Giovanna. I know a lot of Giovanna players love to do 5H round start. Looking at you, Akarian. So yeah, I feel like letting Nago do what he wants round start. I know you're supposed to kind of like fight him back and etc. But with the way the character works, letting Nago kind of let him start to just see where his temperament's at. And especially if he does round start Beyblade, if he does round start DP, that's technically good for you, especially if you're not doing anything. If you're looking for other things, then you can punish him for doing the things that are more risky. There are some Nago players that will do Fukyo back Beyblade. There are some Nago players that will do Fukyo forward throw. And if you're not typically looking to contest him straight away, like heaven or hell, fight, like if you're not looking for that, it makes it easier to check Fukyos and stuff like that, or delayed normals. If you just start swinging like some other people do, you'll get counter hit and then you just see typical Nago rounds. So round start alone, excellent. Right, so this bit here, right, where Zippy had K7 in the corner, this was heavily favored for Zippy. I'm not gonna go into like this matchup's bad. I'm not gonna do all that, but I'm just gonna say like it was really that's like one of Kai's win conditions. The only problem with Kai, realistically, when he's fighting characters like Nago, because Kai doesn't really have that one-hit stopping power that a lot of other characters do. Even Nago himself can pretty much get you in like 1 to 2 combos and then you're out of there. Kai does kind of struggle in that aspect a bit early on, especially when he hasn't got too much meter, because he has to replay neutral or replay situations where he's in control or that's favorable for him, to where he can actually, you know, get the win. So when Zippy was doing, you know, the throw loops and stuff like that, he actually had K7, and what he could have done here is, you'll see when he actually baits the backdash from K7, I'll slow it down just so it's a bit more seeable. What he could have done in this situation is actually DP. The reason why I say that, it sounds wild, but when K7 whiffs the close slash, he was still in shock state, which means if he actually did DP, I believe Kai would have actually been able to get a combo. That's how his vapor thrust works with shock state. So I'll show you. So here we go. So in slow motion, boom, K7 gets thrown. He does another charge stun edge. Here we go. There's a frame kill with JP, JH, JD. He runs in to throw him. He realizes that he's whiffed the throw, so he like PRCs, right? Look, and then he got close slashed. So it said counter. I think they may have tried to throw again, but I'm pretty sure if they whiff close slash into DP, K7's bottom was already out. The DP vapor thrust would have actually won in that situation. As you can see, the lightning effects. Nago is still in shock state, so that would actually allowed him probably to either bait the burst or almost take the round, because yeah, shock state DP combo. The wall probably would have broken quite quickly because he's been thrown, but yeah, Kai would have been in positive state after the wall break. A bit more favorable situation for Kai, especially Nago being quite high here in the blood gauge. Okay, here we have round 2.
At this point in time, Zippy's like, I'm tired of fighting this character. God, look at that. Look how much damage.
Look at the damage on that, bro. Nice.
That's not even gonna lead to a burst. He just did about like 80% damage right there.
Not really much Zippy can do here, honestly. It's kind of rough. This is a pretty rough situation, but nice with punish.
I don't remember at this point. I just remember it hurt a lot.
Oh my god.
2H stands for 2 hurt, dude. Oh man.
Oh no.
Step away.
Part of the plan, huh? This is fast on the commando. Maybe that
Oh.
was a good bait of the bird.
Yeah, and that's,
Okay.
you know, one of the powerful things
Let's
about
look at that round. Okay. So looking at this round, basically where it went wrong, and it's no fault really of Zippy. I want to get that across, obviously. It's just the nature of Nago. The character just hits hard. You're kind of guessing a lot with RPS, with, you know, is he gonna Beyblade, he's gonna DP. So it's quite scary to know the temperament of the Nago player, because this is one of those characters that they can be really docile and then out of nowhere, just boom, loads of damage. He's just wailing on you and you're kind of like, oh my god. So let's look at the round. Here we go. Yeah, that. So the problem with this is not really Zippy's fault. Obviously, technically it is because they got hit, but what Zippy did, I don't think people may have understood why they were counter hit, is I'll slow it down for you. So typically what you do when you're fighting Nago is you will try to check Fukio, because in some instances, if Nago does Fukio forward, you're able to check it with like a quick jab or like 2K2D with some characters, right? So I believe that's what Zippy tried to do here. So we'll watch it a bit more slowed down just to get a better, you know, view of what actually happened here. So Nago does Fukio. Here we go. I believe they press 5P. Kai does 5P. Watch. So Fukio. Yep, 5P. So that's the animation for Kai's 5P. He does like a little chop. So there, he did the little chop to check the Fukio. So Zippy saw Fukio, reacted to it to punish it, and K7 made the read. I think from the first game, realized that Zippy was actually checking the Fukios. So yeah, and I don't even think it was just the Fukios. There was a point in that match, the first round, where K7 did 5K into 6K, so there's the stomp from Nago, and he delayed it because that's usually like a little frame trap that Nago players do. And I believe Zippy actually punished it straight away. Like Zippy just 2K2D or jabbed it, right? So K7, seeing that Zippy's reactions are quite fast, is now playing that mind game between the two players, which is actually quite impressive. So yeah, this from the Kai standpoint, this is where it went wrong for Zippy, and it's kind of sad to say because he didn't really do anything wrong. He just reacted to what he saw and tried to hit it, and then he got counter hit and to 1 billion damage. So yeah, it's just the smell of the game. There you go, the smell of the game. So here we go. We don't need to see the combo in slow-mo, but yeah, wall break, and that's kind of game. So at this point, honestly, I can't say it looks worse than it is, but to be honest, this situation's still pretty bad. The only like positive reinforcement that Zippy may have had during this situation, because it's still somewhat winnable, it's just very, very hard. The only thing is K7's quite high in his blood, right? So the only thing that he could probably think to do is, can I make K7 pop? Because K7's smart enough to know if he does anything risky, he will pop, right? So what K7 probably would try to do at this point is get a bite, or, you know, just start swinging to reduce the blood gauge a bit. Zippy actually knew this, which is why they actually jumped at one point where K7 went for a bite. But outside of that, it's still very like risky to play around because any hit can mean GG's. So it's kind of like, what do you do at this point? It's a very, very tough match. And also factoring in, Nago's got positive bonus, so it allows K7 to make more than one type of like read or play in this situation. That's quite tricky for Zippy to deal with. Now, to be honest, I understand why he did charge damage here, but again, it worked, but it is very risky, very, very risky, because at this range, there's a chance that Nago can actually press 5H. Now, some people may be like, what do you mean press 5H? When Nago is in blood level 2, his normals are extended. As his blood level rises, his normal ranges with his sword extend. His 5H actually goes through projectiles, and Kai is also in a counter hit state. So this was kind of like a risky play, but you gotta make those type of plays when you're this low just to see what you can get away with, because there's not much you can do. Nago's walking towards you, he's walked you to the corner. How do I get out? You know, so it's kind of scary for Kai in this point. We're gonna see the ballsy play from K7 where he goes for the command grab. So look, he missed the bite, and then he does the smart thing of just doing close slash. Now, most people here would try to air throw them. The problem with that is that if they air throwed, when Zippy techs the throw, it pushes Nago back further, so they both separate in the air and land at almost like a neutral reset, which is technically not good. Wouldn't be good for K7 because he's already at level 2 blood, right? So he's got to make his way back in. That's giving Kai space to recalibrate. He can probably set up another charge tonnage and run at K7. And if that happened and it connected, K7 hasn't got burst again to get out. So the smart decision was actually to do nothing and just close slash reset, build up the risk again, and keep Zippy in the corner. Burst bait, and that's game. Yeah, tough. All right, round 2. You know, runs forward, crouches, does nothing, just to, you know, break through that little gap and get close to Nago. Now the tricky thing here is that, as I said, it's good to not contest some of these characters, but you don't want to be too passive sometimes. So maybe switching up the approach a bit. Maybe he does it in the final set, I'm not sure. But now K7 knows, I feel like after 2 games, even the first game maybe, he kind of knows where Zippy's at. Zippy wants to play really, really safe, and he has to because that's the nature of Kai. You can't really play crazy like some of these other characters. Like, for example, I'll throw it out there, May does jump JD about 8 times, and some characters just have to kind of respect it because of her air movement. She may fall down with like dropping, is it J2, no, that's dropping J2D, where she drops with the anchor. I'll try and find the notation for it, but there's loads of stuff like that in the game that can kind of like mess you up, and Kai can't really play like that. He can do jump JD, but it's nowhere near as potent as some of these other characters, correct? So it's very interesting to see how Zippy kind of, you know, plays around Nago. Now the only issue, again, as I said, is that it's hard to keep in your, you know, your win condition as Kai, because it's technically it's kind of like he has to put you in the corner, he's throw looping you, and that's kind of pretty much it. His win condition isn't as nowhere near as scary as any of these other characters. He's got shock state to apply to you. He uses food arc, and he's in, and he can try and play off of that. But it's nowhere near as potent as some of these other characters, because let's say Zippy does food arc and then he lands a close slash, right? He's not getting like 500 damage like some of these other characters, because all of the work that Zippy does can get like counteract by one interaction with Nago gone wrong, which is very, very tricky to you know, have that mental that even if I mess up, I just need to stay strong and try and win. So this was a very interesting round from Zippy, because he really, yeah. See here, shimmies. It's literally like really strong neutral that you have to play, and it's tough because you may feel that as the Kai player you might be outplaying the other opponent, like, which is Nago at the moment, but like they don't really have to outplay you to win, you know. So that's the tricky bit, to kind of like the tough pill to swallow, if we want to put it that way, because K7, not that he isn't outplaying Zippy, but he's playing Nago, so for him, he doesn't really have to worry too much about shimmies and stuff like that. He may look for certain things, like, is he backdashing? How can I catch him backdashing? When has he used the fireball? I can try and get a 5H counter hit, or use clone to breach the gap. But he just needs that one hit. Kai, it's not the same ball game. They're playing 2 different, you know, type of games here, which is why it's really, really tricky. So lands the shimmy, baits the throw, K7 bursts out. So now it's gone back to neutral again. That was really good. So in other games such as Street Fighter, what some characters will do, they will neutral jump, and it's a common skill that some players have, depending on what character you're playing. So like Cammy, Falk, if any of you guys know those characters, a common thing that they do, if a character has actions that they can perform while jumping, they will do those just once or twice, or they'll just do empty jumps. And the reason why they do empty jumps is to see where the opponent's at with their reactions. If you jump and an opponent immediately anti-airs, they're gonna do their air option to conditioning you to not check them. So an example would be, and it applies to Kai as well, Falk will do jump air shot. So air shot is a move where she jumps and she shoots downwards, right? And what that does, anyone that does a sure you can anti-air, in Guilty Gear terms, it would be like a 6p or a DP. Anyone that does that, you'd get hit for anti-airing. So what that means is you have to respect her in the air, right? What happened here is that Zippy did the reverse, which was empty jump, which is what some characters can do. What they do in Street Fighter as well, and some other fighting games. The reason why they do the empty jump is to see where your reactions are at. If you're not checking the air, that means that they can get away with things that they shouldn't be able to, like a free air dash. Most people, if you air dash at them, they will 6p you. But if there's a threat of getting hit for 6p and too early, they will leave you alone. So what he did was he jumped, stalled a bit, landed, nothing happened to him. He's collected that data, which means you'll see how he layers his offense from that later on. Obviously here he landed back down, he landed a 2S, but we'll see how that kind of overlaps into what just happened there. So I'll rewind just so you can see, but you'll see what I mean here. So lands the direct lat, shimmy, Fujarag. Here we go. So watch, look, jump. Yeah, so K7 5p'd, but it wasn't like a big swing attempt like a 2H or a 6p, just 5p, a little check. Nothing really happened to Zippy, knowledge taken. So here we go. Lands 2S. Lands it again, 2K, 2D, charge stun edge. Here we go. Air dash, boom. This is where it gets really good for Zippy. Like this is what he needs to play towards, and he knows that. The throw loops, things like that, but it's hard. It's very hard to keep getting that win condition as Kai versus a lot of these characters. A lot of people will meme and say, just do run up full screen grab. Like that does work, but only to some extent. When you're fighting against these characters like Ram and Nago, right? You're worrying about full screen normals that can potentially confirm to something that can kill you, or just put you in a really toxic situation. When you're at the wall and Ram's just throwing swords, 5k, 2k, dash, jump, flip, that's just like, what do I do? You know? So it kind of gets like that. So maintaining your win condition, which is a bit more basic in a game that's quite volatile, is very tricky, and it's quite admirable to see, you know, it performed at high level from Zippy. But it's just tricky to kind of level with some of these other really strong players and strong characters too. So this is the second round. Good job of actually blocking up both of the DPs. Those of you that don't know, Nago can do his DP action twice. Both hits can counter hit you if you press in between. So sometimes the best bet is to kind of just block it out and let him raise his blood gauge and then play from there, which is what Zippy did. Zippy's playing very smart and tactical. It's just a few unfortunate situations where they get counter hit. Got 5H, 2K2D. That was smart from K7. The reason why I believe they actually used the DP as an OTG rather than 6H after 2K2D is they actually want to keep the blood level up, that they can still interact with Zippy, because the last time, the previous game, Zippy actually used charge stun edge when they got some distance from K7. So keeping up the blood gauge actually allows K7 to still interact with Zippy, even though they're quite far apart, which is actually very smart. Obviously, it kind of prohibits the actions that he can do, but at the same time, it's kind of like give and take, right? Keep blood level high with high chance of winning, or keep it low but still kind of like swing in RPS. So still pretty good. Zippy got a nice counter hit, making his way in, Future Arc, and yeah, burst got baited. Yeah, it's not looking too good. Not looking too good, bruv. It's not looking too good, bruv. Here we go. Nice, see? That's exactly what I mentioned earlier. saw the Fukio, checked it straight away. Now, the problem with what Zippy did is that they didn't do 2p, 6p direct lap. The reason why I'm saying that it's like a minor fault is because that would have actually given them a hard knockdown shock state, and they could have played from that. 2p, 2p stun edge may have been just a misconfirm, or they didn't register that they actually got the hit. So a bit of give and take, but if they did land 2p, 6p direct lat, they would have been in a much better situation than they were in right now. Yeah. Got hit by the Beyblade. I believe Zippy trying to dash block, but just got caught on an off time. A lot of pressure. Nice. Drop the combo. Oh, unlucky.
Good whip punish. That was clean on that
Nice.
splash.
Went for a throw. Nice. Stunned it. So this is what I'm saying. In terms of like the damage comparison, this is from Kai doing stun dipper. Obviously the wall broke, right? So he couldn't really get like a big bombo, and I'm sure if he could have, K7 probably would have bursted it. Even though Kai does have some burst safe routes in the corner, it's not really as comparable to getting like a random DP or Beyblade damage from Nago, right? So as we saw that one round where he lost literally from where it says Kisk to almost the second heart, the damage comparison is very vast, which is why it's tricky, because obviously Kai has to replay the neutral game over and over again. So like when you win with Kai, you generally have to dominate the round. It can't be in between, which is why it's very tricky for, you know, Zippy to keep up with the damage output of K7. Not necessarily the neutral, because Zippy's been playing very, very well, very patient, punishing things where K7 is with like 2 H's and he's running in 2 K2Ds, getting hard knockdowns, shimmying really, really well. It's just the damage. Sometimes he's getting out damaged, and it's really, really hard to keep up.
Not dead though.
Good check on the dash.
Nice, there we go. See, that's exactly what I mentioned. So the previous round where previous game, sorry, where Zippy did 2p stun edge, I believe that was a misplay, because he did it here where he did 2p 6p into direct clap, hard knockdown. That's the optimal kind of punish you want to really go for when Nago does Fukio. It's still somewhat a gamble, because sometimes Nago, if he's fast enough, I believe he can do Fukio DP, which is how Zippy lost one of the rounds, because he did 5p. So you'll see it here after the wall break. Really, really strong check.
Good check on the dash.
Direct lap, nice.
One more mix-up on Nago compared to every other.
Strong. That was a strong round. Really, really strong round.
Nice guts, man. No Nickelodeon. Okay. Oh, okay. Trying to fade out. Everybody's scared of the command throw, so I understand the up back and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So I'll go back just a tiny bit. Usually I would finish the round, but it's somewhat kind of repetitive with the back and forth neutral play. But I want to highlight this one bit, which comes from the Nago 2K.
guts, man. No Nickelodeon.
You'll see. See, Nago 2K, he's delayed. So last time Zippy checked immediately, remember? He checked immediately and Nago was hit. So this time, Zippy didn't press anything because he was expecting, I believe, like a DP or something. I believe K7 might have thought he would have tried to throw him or press a button. So they're playing that little mind game with each other with this button alone. They're playing this little mind game, which is nice. When you're looking at high level, you want to see how there's different layers to neutral and how that kind of, you know, rolls out with the high level players.
Okay. Oh, okay. Trying to fade out. Everybody's scared of the command throw, so I understand the up back and stuff like that. So, but that is what K7 is trying to snipe out: a back dash, or a up back, or a tech even.
I still had the time to get that 5p on that jump.
The wrist, one hit.
Get that wrist meter, caution, danger.
Yeah.
Danger. Ow! Oh, big boss.
Yeah.
Even
Damn.
when you bait out that Beyblade like that on
Nice.
whip,
Okay, this is pretty good for Zippy because
here we go, sets up.
K7's
Oh, I know.
blood is quite high.
K7 was trying to IB that
Oh
jump
no.
up. Oh, I see you on point.
Oh,
Oh.
is this gonna kill? Yeah, he's dead.
Absolutely, James. You know what? You're always correct here.
Yeah.
Oh, I was scared. Not
Nah,
gonna
you
lie.
got it. I trust
Yeah.
you.
That was
I
tough.
trust you. Trust. Trying to kick in the door right now. K7 pressure is on, and he's at
Yeah.
set point. And Zippy survived. He
It's
onslaught
hard.
in
It's
corner
really
and
hard to
away.
kind of edge out and
Go down to 2 knockouts
find a way.
back-to-back. Probably should've
Nice
swung
direct
a little
line.
bit earlier to get that whip punish. Stun Dipper probably would have comboed from that.
Make it a
range.
risk.
Nice 6P. Get a little pressure here. Okay, put that shock stay up. Take your time.
His blood level quite high, so he can't really swing too much. Oh, they're gonna risk. Oh no. One hit. Nice. Caught the backdash. Nice.
Got the counter hit here, but a good timing on that burst to make
Oh,
sure
no.
Fuji arc, and wow, that 5H.
The next hit could decide this match.
So far away. That's like
Honestly.
Steph Curry from
He's
downtown.
checking the Fukios.
So far.
Oh, nice tech.
Stun dip. Nice. Nice. Caught the backdash. Okay. Nice. Bait the throw. That was clean. That was clean. But again, as you can see, as I was saying, he has to replay these neutral situations a lot, which is why it's quite tricky to keep up with characters like Nago. Played really, really well. That was a solid round. Nice bait on the throw. Realized that, you know, the previous game he was thrown. K7 was most likely to tech, right? So really, really strong ender from Zippy. The only tricky thing is, like, you have to always have that mindset of, do I break the wall? Do I replay neutral? Do I go for damage here? What am I aiming for? So he actually wouldn't have been able to kill, which is sad to say because you'd want to have that like closeout power. But yeah, he made the right call here to obviously play the set again and just reset the neutral. The only thing, obviously, K7, I think I don't think Throw might have killed. Maybe OTG after Throw, so he probably pressed. So that kind of was a nice call out from Zippy here. That's not good. That's not good. That's gonna be really favored for for Nago.
That was not, I did not play that. Just happened,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, he missed the combo.
That was
Nice.
Oh, what a galaxy brain. Can he win off of that mix-up?
Nice
Depth
strike.
of dash. Oh, the chip.
Oh,
Nice. I like that. That's
nice.
He's gonna get chipped anyway.
Counter
RC.
hit.
Oh no.
The burst.
No
he
way.
just-
Oh.
No, he does not have. He went for it.
Oh
He
no.
bet it
Oh
all.
yeah.
Did he read a
So-
backdash? Well, that's my jaw.
So I think Zippy kind of just bet all. Yeah, like he just. It was one of those tight situations where there's a couple options it might have beaten from K7, but it was like a high ball, I need to win type of thing. And K7 also had the health advantage, and he also had a bar of meter, so it was kind of, yeah, that was oof. I was unfortunate, but sometimes you gotta make a decision. That just happened to be the wrong one. There's like another timeline where that worked, but unfortunately that didn't pan out as Zippy hoped, I believe.
It's my joint.
I think he was just expecting maybe Showoff just to hit a button or something like that. Figured if I'm gonna go for a DP, I might as well make sure it kills, right?
Yeah, I like that. That was a beautiful decision of Zippy. But we still in here looking for the shit.
Nice. Got really good direct clap timing.
Oh, messed up his stagger.
This could be game.
Getting wake
If
up
he gets a
call,
hit and then baits the burst, then
just feels bad, man.
that's technically game.
Oh,
Oh, 5k.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yee.
we're still alive. We're still alive.
That's
But barely.
Oh, okay.
Burst. That's huge. Got the RC here.
Oh, challenge the plus frame. Like it. There's like no reason not to. Like the guy had like 1 HP, really 10. Well, yeah. So that was unfortunate. Really, really good set. I believe the final score was 3-1 to K7. Really, really strong showing from both players. But yeah, in like summary of all of this, basically, this was a good set. It showcased how Kai can win, but it's not really sustainable in the current meta of Guilty Gear, I think. He's a strong character, but just gets extremely outclassed. Not because that these characters have better tools than him. I think Kai has some of the best tools in the game. It's just the way that they work compared to some of the other characters. The damage output, the counter hits. There's so much stuff that make them just outright better characters than Kai, and it's hard for Kai to keep up when his win condition is a lot more basic, and it doesn't like guarantee him wins as much as other characters. So for example, as we saw, Nago, pretty much 1 or 2 touches you and you're dead. Kai gets a hit and it's not really that, you know, scary, especially if you've got a lot of HP and a decent amount of guts, right? So it makes it quite hard for Kai to kill characters like Nago without him like constantly proving that he's the better player and just outplaying them 24/7. You know, 2S Thundipper is a nice hit confirm, but it doesn't really take Kai that far, whereas Naga can do 5k Beyblade, DP, Fukio into a full combo, and that could be a wall break, meterless, you know? So stuff like that's quite scary when you're comparing, you know, character strengths, character tools. Another example could be Ram doing, you know, close slash, 2H, Rekka, hard knockdown, you're at the wall. That does a lot of damage, and then you're in her win condition, which is one of the best in the game. But you can't really get out without, you know, gambling on one of like 3 or 4 options, right? Kai pushing the corner is pretty much just strike throw. At the end of the day, it's really just strike throw. There's not really much you have to worry about. He's not doing instant overhead, unreactable command grabs. Do you know what I mean? So overall, really good set from both players. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to post comments down below. Let me know what you thought about this set. And if there's anything that you think I may have missed out or you'd like me to cover, if there's any other matches from East Coast Throwdown, please let me know. But yeah, honestly, all in all, really good set. Shout out to TeamSpooky for uploading this to YouTube. This footage all belongs to them. But yeah, as I said before, I also do Metafy, so if you're interested in one-to-one coaching with me, don't forget to DM me. My Discord will be in the description of the video. I also have Twitter and Twitch. Peace.